We interrupt this program with a special report.
I got a message for all you folks out there in Radio Land, so sit tight and bend an ear.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Manga Monday Show. My name is Edgar, and joined by me is my co-host
Ben.
Ben
I am here.
Is here.
I am here. Fear not, citizens. Hope has a.
Remember that one anime when that guy was the main character, but now he's not anymore?
But now he's not. Yeah. He was.
I
he
literally,
was the main character
when we
for a while
saw
there.
when we saw him in recent episodes of My Hero in season 6, you see
Sure.
him with Eri. You're like, hey, look, I forgot he
Yeah,
existed.
he's like not in this arc.
He's
yeah.
literally watching the show like us.
Yeah, which
He's
is
like-
interesting. It's interesting because we're not going to have, well, there is something that happens later on where we do get some dialogue from him. But I was like, man, it's weird to have a My Hero Academia season without hearing Chris Sabat's or the Japanese voice actor for All Might. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a big sad, but good
No,
things
it's
are
fine.
happening in the
Yeah.
anime nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just been chilling. We
a
got
good
nothing
one.
much to talk about other than what we've been up to, Ben.
Yeah.
I've just been nothing. Well, we finally played. Well, like it's just a lot of waiting
Nothing.
and writing and editing, and of course, but that's all stuff's boring because like I don't want to talk your ears off about like I typed
Yeah.
in this paragraph, and then, but we did play online for like the first time. That was fun.
Yeah.
We played Minecraft.
We played twice.
Yeah. I mean, I played Minecraft before, but I have not played online with that since like we played Fortnite like one time.
Yeah, we played Fortnite a
like,
couple of years ago, and
yeah.
I was like, "This is I hate this game."
Well, you didn't. I was in a
big
Fortnite
fan.
back then, and I'm like,
Yeah.
let's just try one time because I only had a console, and like we never. That was the only reason.
Yeah, we were talking on the phone and stuff. and
Yeah.
it was.
Oh,
I remember
wow.
having a lot of fun. Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
It was
But
fun.
but now that I have a PC, one of the things I look forward to. I mean, I got the PC for a completely different reason because every time I have more than 3 tabs open on my MacBook, it sounds like a
It
it's
sounds like a
literally-
lawnmower going off. Yeah.
and I can't use anything like well on this thing anymore. So
Yeah.
like the PC, thankfully, I'm able to do so much more. But one of the things I was looking forward to was playing video games with my friends online. And it was really fun. It was a new experience. So like, come on, man, get with the game. Like we've been doing this for like since like high school. I haven't.
Yeah.
I literally haven't. I never got that experience. Like, hey man, log on. We're doing whatever. Like
I actually haven't been doing this since high school. I only got a PC my sophomore year of college. You know. So it's not fairly new because my PC, it's probably the best investment I've ever made because it just allows me to do so many things at once. And I would implore you soon, not like immediately, but soon you'll be wanting a second monitor because every monitor you add, I say 3 is my maximum. Well, technically I do have a 4th for voiceover, but
in your closet.
Yeah, my closet.
Yeah.
That helps a lot as well. That's helping a lot. But in terms of like every monitor up until 3, it upped my productivity because I can have one tab here, one tab here. It helps me write essays. It helps me write all this stuff.
Yeah, literally.
It's great for reference, just to look over and see it. Other than opening another tab, like assignments that normally took me like an hour and 20 take me like 20 minutes now. It's great.
Black Friday's coming up soon, so maybe I'll save for a little bit for that. But
Definitely.
yeah, it was really fun, and it was a really unique moment. And Ben was like geeking out over like it's so weird hearing you. And then our friend Eric was playing with us. I mean we've hang out a bunch of times before, but he's like moved away, and we texted each other. We talked, and Ben and Eric have been playing, but I haven't spoken with Eric in a while.
Yeah.
And now they're playing a game together. Ben was like, "This is weird. I only play games with Eric." And now Edgar's here too. Like, am I dreaming? Like,
Yeah, it was really weird. Like when Eric joined the Discord, I was like, "What is this?" You know?
yeah, right.
Because I recorded a whole live stream with Edgar before, which I've gotten. So I got accustomed to him on Discord because we recorded a review of the first ever episode of Chainsaw Man. yeah, it was just mind-boggling to me. But we had a fun time. It was awesome. The first time we sadly had to drop our world and find a new one because the world was.
Well, we died. Well, it was one big cool mountain.
Yeah.
But there were so many monsters around there, and it was like kind of impractical to build our base and house there.
Yeah.
And so we had to move away, and everything we kept. It was nothing but deserts and a lot of nothing.
A lot of snow biomes. Yeah, I think it was a large biome world.
Big oceans too.
Yeah, and also we found a desert temple, and Eric was like, "Don't step on the pressure plate," because in forest or in desert temples, there's a pressure plate, and then at the bottom there's a whole bunch of TNT, and if you step on it, you blow up.
Yeah.
And there was kind of like a Mission Impossible thing that they were doing.
Eric told me to be careful, but he had a dog, and then the dog stepped on one.
This is why I waited up. Like, I waited at the surface. I was like, you guys go and get it. I'm just going to wait up here. And then I hear, I'm sitting down looking at my phone, right? And then I hear, Edgar, run! And then it's silent for like 5 seconds. And then I hear boom, 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 boom. And then it all blows up. And then I see on the screen that Edgar died. And I hear Eric laughing.
I did
like laughing hysterically.
What was even funnier, the funnier thing for me was that we walked and sailed and like on the boat for so long.
For like about 2 hours, I would say.
For so long, so far away from where we originally spawned. And then I got sent all the way back because we haven't found a base yet, so we just been sleeping on the way there.
Yeah.
So
I could have TP'd you, but we were already at that point. We were like,
right.
we were done. Yeah. We were like, we're just gonna start a new world tomorrow, which is what we did. And then like 500 feet away from spawn, we were able to find our new house.
Yeah.
And where we're gonna place it. So, yeah.
Other than that, it was really fun.
Yeah, it was really funny. If you've seen that meme of Fallout where I think it's dog meat, or I don't know, I forgot what the dog's name is from Fallout, but there's this meme in Fallout where the main character is trying to bypass security, and then the dog just walks straight through it,
and then the
guy's like, "No!" Yeah, and he gets just destroyed. I love that meme, but that's basically what happened.
Yeah, it was really, really funny. That was pretty much everything that happened this week. What you been up to, Ben?
Well, I mean, I could talk about other stuff, but I want to talk about the most interesting thing. I can finally say what show I was a part of because it just released yesterday.
Yeah, we mentioned it. We said what it was, but now we'll go more in depth because we're afraid of like what it would mean.
Yeah, we don't. When we're more confident in like how many people we have and what following we have, it'll be harder for copyright people to beef up against us, you know. But right now, we just want our channel is growing well, and we don't want to stop that with copyright issues. But yeah, I was a part of a show called Shinobi no Itoki.
Yeah.
The show doesn't have the best reviews in the world, and I did watch it. I will have to say that, the writing of the show, not necessarily the best.
Yeah.
It has a lot of fan service.
I knew that from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, just look at it. I mean,
like
the character motivation isn't the best, and I think in this episode that I'm in, my character, and we'll talk about this later, my character, he talks about how he doesn't want anybody to die, and he doesn't want anybody to kill anybody. And there's a character who listens to that and is moved by it. And I think later in the episode, he tries to kill the main character, which I'm like, why, dude? Like, did you not listen to me? But but however, I will say this without a doubt, and I watched the dub, it's some of the best dubbing work I've seen. It's a really, really good dub.
Go check it out. It's in episode 5. You're literally like in the first scene.
And it's just the first, this was just the first 7 episodes. So there is a point for the show it can get really good, but as of right now, I mean, you go on Crunchyroll, you see mid Chainsaw Man better, and you're like, no duh, idiot.
But if you know Ben and if you know us, go check it out because it's surreal to hear your voice in something like this. I was like, I seen you act so many times, and I've hung out with you so many times, but like this was like a different experience.
Yeah.
You gave a great performance, but like in a way, I could only hear you because I'm like, oh, it's just Ben. It's not a character.
Yeah, I could only hear me.
Not
as
saying
well,
that
you
like,
know?
not saying that like you didn't do the character justice,
Yeah.
and I only heard
But
you. I just mean like this is like, hey, look, it's Ben. Like it's just
Yeah,
you.
but
like,
they wanted, my friend Marcus, who was directing that day. He's the assistant ADR director. He told me he's supposed to be young, but he's supposed to be kind of tired of all the killing. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do my normal voice, but a little bit more weary. Like he's just finished with all of it. Spoiler alert, my character is not alive.
Yeah, you said that. Like, and I was like, how? I want more Ben.
Yeah,
I want more Ben.
He
like,
is dead.
No.
So that sucks, and I don't know if he's going to show up again.
I'll be
Marcus,
waiting for that character to return.
Marcus is confident he'll show up again, but it might be one of those things. He's very much a character like Grisha. Obviously, it's not as well written as Attack on Titan, obviously. But he's similar to Grisha in the sense that his death has affected what's going on right here.
Yeah.
And whereabouts and how he died are important to the story. So flashbacks could happen. And there's a possibility, you never know with anime, there's a possibility he could still be alive. But I'm in the cold open of episode 5 of Shinobi no Intoki on Crunchyroll. Check it out. Watch the official release.
Yeah.
Please, oh please, oh please. A lot of my friends are in it. Really, really good friends are in it, and really, really good friends are directing it. They're doing amazing work, and honestly, in my opinion, they're making the show better with how good their dub is.
Yeah.
Which is really, really great. And so, just to give a little bit of talk, my character's name is Kenshin Maru. Like I said, just the first 40 seconds of episode 5, and my character, he just kind of is fed up with war and
what is it good for? I mean,
yeah, what is it good for?
Absolutely
War?
nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's just kind of talking to a side character about how he wants to change the world, and the side character is really young, and he says, "Oh, let me help you," and I'm kind of like, here, I'll give you a little taste of what I say. No, I'm just kidding. My character says, "If you insist," So he's kind of holding his cards close to his chest in the sense of, yeah, right, like that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun to be a part of it. I hope to be back on the show, but if not, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
It was just a great experience, and I hope to be cast in other projects. But this was my first ever named character with Crunchyroll, so that was really, really exciting.
Everyone round of applause to Ben.
Yeah.
He made it. He is famous now. You can
Yeah,
die in peace.
totally. I can die in peace.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah. It was great.
Yeah, but we'll be waiting for you for that main character role someday, Ben. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop the champagne.
Maybe someday.
I'm gonna be like screaming. I'm
Doesn't even need-
gonna buy all the merch.
I just want him to show up at least like 2 weeks in a row. I just want him to not be dead and not be named camp manager 2A.
other like famous voice actors.
but it's
Yeah, I want $1 million. Otherwise, I'm not doing the role. And then you like, can I just show up like
Can
2
I
times,
just-
please? Like, can I just like
No.
Can I have more than one line?
If you don't know, it's one of my life roles to be a regular at Crunchyroll. I want to be there all day, every day, and then I want to go home and then write and draw manga and then edit some shonen junks. That's my ideal
I want a
life.
dub for the anime for the series I'm writing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
wouldn't that be surreal? Like,
I mean, who's gonna stop me playing those roles? Who knows it better than me?
I will hold the Crunchyroll hostage by not making any more chapters in the series.
Yeah.
Like,
There you go. But yeah, it's a dream of mine to work on a series regularly, and I don't need to play a main character. I don't need to do all that stuff. I just want to be there all day because I love being in front of the microphone. I love learning about new shows and watching stuff and being like, I would have never watched this show if I wasn't a part of it. But now I love Laid Back Camp,
Yeah.
Like now I love
Chris about with Dragon Ball. Yeah, Dragon Ball sucks, but it's glad that I got it. Like, and
exactly. So yeah, it's just really exciting. It makes me really giddy. But yeah, Edgar,
good stuff.
Are you ready for the news, buddy?
Yeah, let's get into some news.
For the schnews. All
Yeah.
right, Edgar. Here we go. Here
Let's
we
go.
go. Here we go. New manga gets a new TV anime. My Clueless friend manga gets TV anime in 2023. It's going to be awesome. I've never heard of this before, but, you know, it's a new manga getting a new show. Let me see if I can find... Oh, God, I'm getting the hiccups. Let me see if I can find a description of the Square Enix manga. One lonely, gloomy 5th grade girl is the target of her classmates' relentless bullying and teasing. That is, until a new kid arrives on the scene. Friendly Takada is a clueless as he is well-meaning, but somehow he possesses the magic ability to start drawing Grim Reaper Nishimura out of her shell as the elementary schoolers experience all of the fun childhood summer together. From going to the pool, to picking sunflowers, to watching fireworks, an unusual friendship blossoms. So yeah, it's just going to be a nice little wholesome thing.
That's cool.
So it's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You got a story for us?
Yes, we do. Ben, even though I haven't caught up with, because I've been watching so many series.
I'm sure.
Since I haven't caught up with Andor, I've been hearing nothing but praise for this series.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
But you know, I got surprising news that kind of shocked me. I'm like, really? Andor. The first 2 episodes will be shown on ABC, FX, Freeform, and Hulu next week on television. Next week, in regards to November 23rd through 25, and on Hulu. This is the first Disney Plus show to leave Disney Plus.
Yeah,
that they will be showing elsewhere. So it's really a question of. I mean, a lot of people are taking this as good news. Like, it is good, but I get the feeling. I get a feeling that they know that a target audience wasn't reached in Disney Plus, and that they know a certain audience, like, I don't know, adults or just non-Marvel Star Wars super diehard people will like it.
Yeah,
I get
do
the
know
feeling,
the numbers are exceedingly low.
yeah,
especially
the
for a
reviews
Star
are high,
Wars
but
show.
like the reviews are, but the viewership is like really low. Unfortunately, because I feel like it deserves a lot of attention, and I need to keep watching it. But literally,
it sucks because it's like we know that it's good. It's just we're not watching it. You know, there's just so much.
I know.
other stuff
We're
going on,
hypocrites
you
for
know?
that, but I'm really interested into hearing this stuff. I just hear it has great writing, great direction, no
man.
fan service. So like it's a series very marketable to people who aren't involved in this world. So like they can very touch it really well.
And at the beginning, I was more like, but isn't Star Wars supposed to be for kids? But also, there's this part of me where it's like, you know, Star Wars is best when it puts on a different, you know, cover. Yeah. And Star Wars, like, other than the main movies, it hasn't veered away off of that, you know. But it has had more serious games before. It has had more serious stuff. As long as the core of Star Wars, the movies, most of the television shows stay with that demographic for children, that'll be fine. But for this to happen once, especially during the height of the Empire, great.
Yeah, good stuff. If you haven't checked out the series,
Andy Serkis. He's in it.
And Andy Serkis. Yeah, is this the first Star Wars character to do a different role in the universe?
No.
Other than voice acting,
yes, because Clancy Brown played a character in The Mandalorian, and he was a Savage Opress in the Clone Wars. So yeah,
really cool. Yeah, but this also just they're trying to reach a target audience that don't have Disney Plus. So people who always hear about Disney Plus, they're probably gonna check that out because they literally, like, I don't want to subscribe, but I guess I'll watch it now. Like, you know what I mean? Other than that, we have Makoto Shinkai Suzeme anime film earns 1.88 billion yen in first 3 days. That is it is the most successful film that he's ever done in terms of opening box
weekend.
office.
Yeah.
So really good news. It outdid Your Name. It sold 38.7 more tickets than Your Name did, and
some of the reviews are out too, and I haven't seen a bad review. I have seen some people call it mid though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but don't pay attention to reviews, guys. I mean, most review sites, at least in English, they don't really know what they're
I couldn't
about.
understand any of it because I don't speak Japanese, so was man.
Exactly.
Can you imagine? Yeah, I didn't understand
I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
To hop onto that, Makoto Shinkai's film is, of course, opening at number 1, which makes it the first time One Piece film has dropped to number 3 in maybe like 4 or 5 months. So yeah, which is, I mean, yeah, it's the 15th weekend. It was 15 weekends in a row that it was at number 1, which is absolutely crazy. But now One Piece Film Red can be, laid to rest. And it is the 6th, jumped up, I guess. It's the 6th all-time highest earning anime film ever. So it's just, it's just laying it to rest. It's the time for One Piece Film Red has come to an end. And
there's no official release date, I believe, yet. We're expecting it to come early 2023.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll will be handling distribution.
Yeah.
But that is a film we will be there for, and,
Yeah, definitely.
And when that happens, we'll be, reviewing. So I can't wait for that.
Edgar, have you read Tokyo Revengers?
No, but I have 2 volumes because I
do
heard
too,
great things,
Yeah,
but
me
now I'm not hearing that many.
We hear some off and on things about the ending of the manga, and this might be the reason for this. Tokyo Revengers manga gets a special arc, Tokyo Revengers Extra Spin-off serialization. So Tokyo Revengers manga ended on Wednesday, and this year's 51st issue of Kodansha Weekly Shonen Magazine revealed on Wednesday that manga writer Ken Wakui will reveal a special arc for his Tokyo Revengers manga at the large-scale exhibition in Roppongi. I want to go to Roppongi so bad.
Where is that?
That's basically like the party center of Tokyo.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be released at around November 2023, so we have 1 year left. So he's probably just going to take a nice little break before he draws all of that stuff. So yeah, that's going to be fascinating to see.
Yeah, Ben, have you heard of a guy named Elon Musk?
No.
Yeah, well, he's been doing some.
He's been doing some shenanigans.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up right here.
He's been doing some things.
Yeah, fishy things. But Tatsuki Fujimoto, the mangaka for Chainsaw Man, is kind of infamously or famously, whatever you want to take it, known for having an account in the guise of like his little sister, which doesn't exist, by the way.
Yeah,
but
course.
he like
it'd be a little bit weird if she did.
Actually, it's kind of weird that she doesn't exist. It's kind of, in a sense, he's like you're pretending to be
Fujimoto. He's a little bit of cuckoo in the head.
Yeah, he has a video of him trying to levitate.
Yeah, I don't think he could have written Chainsaw Man if he wasn't that a little bit cuckoo.
Yeah. But he had his little, quote unquote, little sister's account banned from Twitter.
Yeah.
And he's famous for just spewing out like whatever his mind comes to. But I don't know exactly why it was banned. The Twitter must have thought that the user was too young. Because he was playing like a child in a sense, but now he opened up a new account saying, "I'm really Tatsuki Fujimoto. Please believe it." So, because with the whole Twitter and like verification, you have to be like a specific like.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's gone.
Anyone could be anyone impersonating anyone, but like this, Tatsuki Fujimoto.
It's been really bad for fake news and stuff like that spreading.
Really doesn't help, but he basically opened a new account like, guys, it's me, I swear, I'm not little sister anymore, it's me, which is absolutely hilarious. But maybe we'll be getting regular Fujimoto now. But that was just a whole debacle. I'm like, only you can you imagine that stuff like that happening like back? It can't happen. But,
man, it's crazy.
What else do we got,
Edgar? It's that time of the that time of the month or week, I guess, because we're here on the Manga Monday show. Half of our news is reporting on the health of these brilliant creators, these brilliant mangakas who have been worked to death, But yeah, I got 2 this week. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks since we had.
We're on a good streak.
We had a health story, yeah. So now put that number of days without incident back to 0 because Hunter x Hunter Yoshuri Togashi says it takes a week to redo a single manga panel.
Yeah, it was to be expected. Just because he came back in full throttle doesn't mean he was going to stay for long, because we've had hiatuses like these.
Yeah. So yeah, the Hunter x Hunter manga returned. Of course, you guys know that, but its production has been a grueling process, according to Togashi's reports. The manga creator tweeted last Wednesday that under his current system, it takes a week to complete a retake of a single panel. He was referring to chapter 398, which he expects will be completed this Wednesday. Yeah. Togashi has been public about his health issues and has been dealing with this for the past several years. Shortly after he launched a Twitter account to tease the manga's return, he released a statement ahead of his exhibition on October, which we've talked about probably more than we should have. But yeah, I mean, this,
really sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, we learned so much about him and about just what an awesome dude he is and how true he wants to say to the Hunter x Hunter story that he wants to be the one who pens it down. He wants to be the one who feels the gratification of finishing this series, which I completely respect to the highest degree. For those Hunter x Hunter fans, be grateful every single day. If you love Hunter x Hunter, just don't ever take it for granted. If the manga or the chapter is shorter, don't complain. Don't be like, oh, hiatus, hex hiatus, don't do that. This is a brilliant creator trying his best.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the original source, but I remember reading a while back. Fortunately, he was open more to like having more people help him with the very the stuff that he would only do. I remember reading somewhere that he like had more assistance with that.
I know these mangakas are hardcore. When I learned that Oda draws basically everything himself, that he only has his assistants to help him with like tools and like getting coffee and stuff. He wants the success of One Piece to be all his, and he wants the downfall, if it's bad, to be all his. He doesn't want anybody else to take that weight, which is brilliant.
It's like, imagine apprenticing under Oda. Yes, finally. What can I do? Yeah, give me coffee.
Yeah, give me a coffee. Oh, man. Yeah, exactly.
Can I draw one line, please?
Yeah. Well, Edgar, take that 2 minutes without incident back down to 0 because Black Clover manga takes a 2-week break due to author's health. Yeah.
We just had it one.
Yeah, he just had a break, yeah. In this year's 50th issue of Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine revealed that Yuki Tabata's Black Clover manga is on a 2-week break and will return to the magazine's 52nd issue on November 28th. The manga was absent from the magazine's 50th issue and will be absent continuing on the 51st. He's coming down with a sudden illness, which I'm not too 100% sure if that is true. I think that this is a recurring thing that he's having issues with. He's been having a lot of sudden illnesses, and this might be due to grueling work and all this stuff. I mean, I'm reading Black Clover right now, and I read some of his messages at the beginning of each volume, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, he's like, he always talks through, like, the gaze of his dog, and he's like, his dog's always says, oh, the old man didn't play with me today, He's so busy. He has bags under his eyes. And you're like, oh, man. Like, poor Tabata, poor guy. But yeah, Tabata, get better. I hear where Black Clover is right now. It's really strong. Where I'm reading Black Clover right now, it's really strong. Yeah. Finish strong, my man.
Yeah, finish strong. That's all that matters in the end.
Yep.
I think I have one more thing, but it's not that big. Ben, the official Attack on Titan final season part 3 shows a teaser, preview visual. You can go check it out online. It's everywhere. It's like a parallel to the actual manga cover for those who've read the manga. Yeah. But it looks really good, and we can tell that this is clearly it. Because for those, I mean, it's Eren now, and it's like the gang in front of him, and there's like fire. You can tell there's gonna be like a big war, so we can clearly tell where the story's headed, and we're all for it. I mean, I don't think there's an official release date yet. It did say winter of 2023. For those who watch anime, religiously, know that the winter season for anime, obviously means within January, February, not December. So that should clear up confusion, and that's we'll be getting it early 2023 for sure. So stay tuned for that. And that's all the news I got, Ben. Unless you got something else.
The only thing is that Studio Ghibli and Star Wars are working on a project together, which we assume is going to be
I think it came out already.
You think it came out
was
already?
Yeah, it did. It was like 3 minutes. It was like the Grogu animation.
Oh yeah, it was the Grogu animation. Really bummed.
Yeah, I mean, I saw it.
Yeah.
It was cute and nice, but I wanted more, and I wanted it to be longer, and I wanted it to be
Yeah.
something a bit more original.
Especially since Dave Filoni is the head of Lucasfilm Animation. We know that he got to start creating what I think to be the greatest television show on the planet, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So he's very close with animators because Nickelodeon didn't animate Avatar. A studio in Korea did.
Yeah.
So should be really close with people who know creators and animators of from the Asian countries. And so, yeah, I mean, it would have been great to see maybe just a little short film, you know, maybe like a little, like a young Luke Skywalker thing, maybe. I don't know. Just
Something
something.
like, other than Grogu and like something we've been revealed with before. But
yeah, we've been kind of been hit on the head with Grogu a lot recently.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, that's it. That's it for the news today, guys.
pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, this isn't news. I just want to throw in one last thing.
Sure.
Isayama visited New York, or at least
right.
he has yet to be. But as of recording, he visited New York. But
Yeah.
he did mention that I think in a message he posted that he hopes people are nice to him
Yeah.
because you know he's aware of the ending and how controversial it was, whatever you think about it, and you know he's aware of the fan base's reaction to it. And he was kind of worried of how the fan base would feel like facing them directly. He didn't expect an entire mob, but you know,
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy. Regardless of how you feel about the story, you shouldn't come at them with like, you know, pitchforks and torches.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just heavy questions like why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like take it as it is, respect the creator. Even if you, regardless of how you thought, even if you think the ending is a 0 out of 10, he wrote some of the best storytelling ever to be read on this planet. You know, he is an amazing author, and what he did like for the beginning and the majority of this entire series is like something that'll be for the books that we'll always remember forever and ever.
Yeah.
So, you know, treat him with respect, you know, kind of be glad that he's visiting America. Like it's really it should be something worth rejoicing over.
I mean, even if he was, you know, even if the ending was atrocious,
I don't think so, but like
I don't
even
think
if you
so
think
either.
that, yeah.
I said even if it was.
Yeah. I just want to clarify
You know,
that, yeah.
even if it was, he's a human being, guys. Treat him with respect, you know. And the ending wasn't atrocious. It was okay at worst, you know. There are a couple things I would have changed. I just don't think he quite knew how to end it, but that's completely fine. Like, I think the ending was fine, you know.
Yeah. It really do be like that, though.
Really do be like
but
that.
Ben, that's all we got from the news today, officially. And let's get on to the big subject for today.
Yes.
Because we got some good stuff. Because we have finally seen Wakanda Forever, the sequel of Black Panther.
Yeah, the sequel.
Black Panther. The powers of the Black Panther will be stripped away. That's like the one line I always kept repeating after the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this one is like, they call him Kulkulkan.
Yeah.
That word is so fun to say. Kulkulkan.
Yeah.
The serpent god. Yeah, we saw it, Ben. And the first thoughts that we had when the movie ended were...
Let's start, before we say that, let's start and say Marvel has become a thing. Any thoughts we have about the film, people will dislike. That's just how it is, you know. Marvel, especially recently with Thor and Multiverse of Madness and She-Hulk and Miss Marvel, it has become so divided and so divisive that if you like it, you know, you're seen as a woke, you know, which, I mean, people who throw that word around don't even know what it means.
Yeah.
But you're seen as this just absolutely, you know, just this freedom fighter, you know, in the worst sense, which is just so absurd. If you like something, you like something. And if you dislike it, you know, you're racist, you're sexist, you're all this stuff. But that's not, I mean, people don't actually think like that. That's just the internet talking.
Yeah.
And the internet talks a
unfortunately,
lot.
I mean, mind you,
know?
unfortunately, there are people that are like that.
Yeah,
it's
of
just like,
course.
it's just that they get tossed in the same bag as like,
yeah,
you know.
and they're really loud, and they're they're a minority, you know. But yeah. But we'll start with what were your first thoughts, Edgar, when it ended?
When it ended, I realized how much better Black Panther 1 was.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that instead.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it. I mean, I already
Yeah.
did, but I'm like, I want to watch it again.
Yeah, I know.
Like, cause I saw Black Panther, to me, the first one will always be in my mind. It was like, I've never had overhype ruin a film for me, and I'll always be an advocate for saying you should never have that, should never affect your viewing of a film.
I saw it the second day it opened, so I don't think I had that. I really liked Black Panther, but the first one, but I don't think it deserved to win an Oscar nomination like it did.
No.
You know? Yeah.
Logan should have been like,
yeah,
you know,
and it was the same year Logan came out, I think. Yeah.
And but you know, all this to say that like Black Panther has been a film like that. Even then, I enjoyed it. I felt like all its praise, and like, yes, it was. I do agree, it was absolutely a huge impact to the culture, huge impact to, you know, what the MCU. It's like something completely different.
Chadwick Boseman is an icon and will stay so. And I think, he fit into the role absolutely perfect, and was one of the two strongest points in that entire. I mean, there was a lot of things like the score, the Tolkien white guys. They did really well in that film.
Yeah, yeah.
I really loved. Oh man, I wish that they kept Andy Serkis alive because he looked like he was
a good villain.
He looked like
Michael
he was
B. Jordan.
So much.
Michael
fun.
B. Jordan was phenomenal.
He should have been the main. Yes, Michael B. Jordan should have been the main.
But Andy Serkis was having a fun time on that set. You know for a fact.
Yeah, but if Andy Serkis, you know, and he was already in Age of Ultron, that's probably why they killed him off. But I mean, God, he was doing so great.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
Yeah, but that film has a lot of great things going for it. But even then, at the end of the day,
the CGI is a mess in that movie.
Yeah, the last fight scene in the first film looks like a 2011 video game cutscene, like a good one,
to be honest,
but still, it looks like, you know,
when the whales are out of water in this one, they look awful. Have you seen? Did you see
the worst?
That?
In the second film, I think the worst CGI part was. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't the whale. No, it was something else. I can't really pinpoint, but I don't want to talk about that scene unless we talk about spoilers. But we'll get to that later.
Sure.
But it was better. The CGI was better than the first one. Yeah. I will say, because the first one had more obvious, glaring CGI. But even then, like I said, I wanted to wrap up my thoughts on the first film of Black Panther.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I thought it was overhyped and it kind of ruined the experience for me, which has never happened before. It rarely ever happens. Other people's like opinions, like constantly berating me, like, oh, it's so good, go watch it. And then I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not good, or not as good as I thought it was. But I appreciate it much more now. I really like everything that movie did and what it did for the MCU, and seems much more unique now. But I thought of like nothing. I felt nothing watching this. Not the same way when I watched Thor, Love and Thunder, mind you. That was just like a mindless like. That was something else. But like
it was the worst of Marvel, in my opinion.
One of the. I don't think it's the worst MCU film, but it was one of the worst.
I'm saying when I mean the worst of Marvel, I don't mean the worst MCU film. What I mean is the worst of the Marvel formula
and all the things. Yeah,
it was Marvel to the T, and it was the worst version of it.
And this film, even though I had like minor prejudice, like worries for this film, what it would be, and how like, oh, I don't know, I'm not that hyped for it. I'm losing my love for the MCU. I knew for a fact that it would at least be like different from every other Marvel film. That it wouldn't. At least I prayed it wouldn't have those MCU.
That's what it was. It
was
different.
But it still couldn't escape those things from the MCU formula, because it still had that stuff in there. And when it did, I'm like,
yes,
why? Why does there need to be jokes here? Why does there need to be a character? Like, some characters do not need to be in this movie. Like,
some characters also don't need to do jokes.
No,
that's something I disliked about Multiverse of Madness. Even though I'm for the most part I like that film, but I just dislike. Doctor Strange doesn't need to be the quippy one, No. He doesn't need to say a quip. He should be the one who's grouchy and is like reacting to everybody else being stupid around him.
His funny situations just have to be with him reacting to other characters, not him being the joke,
the quippy master,
this film, I felt nothing in the sense of like, I told Ben exactly like verbatim that I wanted if I were going to dislike this movie, I wanted it to be a lot worse than it is, so I at least can enjoy it in a sense of like, this is stupid. This is MCU is all down the trash. But I watched it, I'm like, I am just disappointed. I wanted, I wasn't like, it wasn't awful. It wasn't a bad film at all.
No.
I can understand why a lot of people like it. Why.
Yeah,
I
too.
don't really understand why someone would call this the best MCU film.
Yeah, I think this is going to come down. This movie is literally just going to be based on preference. Now, when Edgar says he felt nothing, obviously the death of Chadwick Boseman is sad. Obviously,
the opening scene was great, but hearing the silence and the slight spoilers, but like hearing the silence in the MCU opening crawl, and then just saying the Chadwick Boseman. Was the most emotional I have ever felt in any MCU anything.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It didn't kick in until that moment, and it just showed him, and it was silence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, he's gone.
Yeah, well, also
it might sound cheesy, but I was tearing up and like and I like and seeing because like the opening slight spoilers. You just want to launch into some spoilers now? I mean,
give me. Let's just give it a couple more minutes.
Okay,
but that's interesting that you said that because everybody knew that was going to be the MCU crawl. The thing for me was I was like, oh, this is sad. But then when it was silent, I was also like, man, the MCU logo is long. Like that was what I thought.
For me, well, yeah.
I didn't feel too much. Even though I love Chadwick Boseman, and I was very, very sad when it was announced that he died, because he fit the role so perfectly.
I agree.
He's a great actor.
Whenever celebrities die, I mean, I don't really believe you if you're like, oh my God, I've been crying all day. Like, you know, I mean, you can feel what you want.
Unless they mean like when Martin Freeman dies, that's how I'm gonna feel. You know, when somebody like Bryan Cranston dies, that's how I'm gonna feel. Yeah, you know, just because that person has that emotional.
We all have
connection.
our idols, you know.
Exactly.
But even then, I feel like unless it was my family, I wouldn't really cry for someone even then.
Yeah, there has to be a line. Yeah.
But
the loss, we're just saying the loss of death is sad. Yeah. And that's what we'll say.
But I didn't feel it until that moment. Yeah. Like hearing and that really got me. And I'm like, and I thought, and how like if it's like this the entire movie, I'm like, great. Like keep me invested in it. Mm-hmm. Not just like, oh, Chadwick Boseman died. Just like, what will we do with his legacy and this character? Yeah. And I was really like I got excited for a moment. Sure. I really did.
Sure. Good on you. But yeah, this Edgar, my thoughts at the end of this movie was thank God it ended.
No, same thing, but same thing. Like
because there was, I think it was halfway through the movie where I was like, man, this movie does not want to end, you know, and it kept on going.
Before we went to the movie, I'm like, why is this movie
2.5
longer?
hours?
Yeah, and like, mind you, they have to take time, I guess, in a sense, because this is dealing with the death of a major character and actor and like the legacy, as we said before. But like, Spider-Man, the Spider-Man, No Way Home, and what it was supposed to be, and when it ended up being, I would have expected that to be longer. Or something like Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, I don't know. Am I crazy for thinking that a film like this shouldn't be as long as it is?
No.
Even before watching it?
You're definitely right. And we'll get into that more in spoilers about how in movies, there are sometimes things that are, and in plays as well, in all forms of media, in all forms of acting, there are cuts, there are scenes that you don't see. However, it felt like when they wrote this movie, every scene was added in. Like they wrote all of everything. Like they let nothing be in our imagination. They let nothing go. Like there was a scene where we were like where the queen was looking for someone, right? Yeah. And I thought it wasn't going to show us where they were. And I was like, okay, cool. So it's going to be like they're trying to find this person, and then they're not going to show up until they do, and then they immediately cut to them, and then the queen is still trying to find that person, but we know where they are and we know that they're safe. So it's also kind of like, oh, you know, there's just too much going on. That's another issue that I have with this film. But I talked about this immediately after with Edgar. It's definitely not a bad movie at all. Yeah. And it's not a bad MCU movie at that.
It is
but
in the bottom of the bunch for me, though.
It is. It's on the bottom half as well. But I mean, I can see why people would really like this. But here's the issue with me. Thor: Love and Thunder, hated it. Hated it with a passion. Multiverse of Madness had major issues with. I liked it for the most part.
At least
Miss Marvel,
as much as I don't like that movie now, at least at the end of that movie, first watching, I enjoyed sitting through it. I enjoyed watching it, at least.
Yeah, Miss Marvel, like, had major problems, but at least the first and last episode was interesting to watch. This movie, I think it has a crime that is like the worst thing a movie can be, which is boring.
Yeah.
And there are some parts where I was just bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
Like Edgar talked to me a couple days ago about pulling out my phone in the movies and how he doesn't like it. And I was trying this movie not to. I was like,
but I literally told you, like, I get the feeling that I wouldn't really be that mad if you pulled
but
out
still,
your
I
phone.
was like, I just want. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm too connected to the outside world because when I go see plays, turn them off. I'm there. You know, so maybe movie-going experiences would be better if I just turned it off completely. But I couldn't do it because I was miserable.
I don't blame you, buddy.
I was
really,
miserable in the sense that I was like, man, you know what this movie needed? It needed T'Challa to do some cool stuff. It needed it. But it was Black Panther without the Black Panther for most of it. So it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of slow burns.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And not that that's bad, but it's just like the MCU it doesn't have that sense of like, it doesn't have that sense of suspense that like The Godfather has, you know, where there can be like a talking scene and you're just invested in it. But I was just so bored. And yeah,
I feel like to get into our dislikes and our gripes with this film, we had to get into spoilers. So before we do that, I guess let's just talk about what we like. Sure. Before we head into the spoiler section. Sure. Acting is great.
Top tier.
Yeah.
Top tier.
Angela
acting.
Bassett as the Queen, Ramonda, fantastic. I respect it and agree and understand for people who say that she deserves Oscar nominations. I agree. She was phenomenal. And Tenoch Huerta, who played Namor, great. Brilliant.
Bring him back, please.
Probably my favorite part of the film is the scenes with him.
Yeah, and in my opinion, he's a better Aquaman. You know?
Yeah.
He's an Aquaman with an actual like personality. You know?
I mean, mind you, Aquaman might be better in the comics, but I never read the comics for either one of them.
Yeah, of course.
But from Namor, absolutely great, really cool power. I saw in the trailer his wings thing, his whole power, his whole shtick. Man. It looked cheesy at first to me, but in the film, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
really cool.
I loved every part with Namor, with his whole backstory. I really liked.
Yeah.
The world building in this movie is awesome.
The costume designs, the set pieces, like the whole the design, everything looked really. I know it was like a lot of it was CGI, but it looked cool. It looked fantastic. And their opening scene, like where it showed the people, I don't know what it starts with a T, the people of Takan or something. Really cool opening scene. It was kind of like a horror film, like underwater when the lights shut off. I'm like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah. I'm out. Later.
Exactly. And then I like how they like hinted at like these people have like an ability of the sirens. Really cool. Like I actually really like that. And a lot of, like I said, the acting was really great in this film.
Was really good, yeah.
Mind you, not all of them. I didn't really like. What's her name?
Ironheart.
Yeah, what's the actress?
I don't know.
Ironheart. It doesn't say I think it was Riri Williams is the character's official name.
Yeah.
Or Dominic Thorne's performance is Ironheart. I really don't like her.
I think they wrote her as too similar to Peter Parker. Like that scene, I think they were like, oh, this is like that scene when Tony shows up, you know, but none of the actors had the rapport that Robin Williams and Tom Holland.
You mean Robert Downey Jr.?
Did I say Robin Williams? Robert Downey Jr.
Robin Williams.
I said Robin Williams is Iron Man. That would be amazing. No, but Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland just had such a good chemistry, and they wrote that as a strength.
But even then, this it felt so unceremonious to like introducing this character.
Yeah, because they had too many things going on in this movie. There was too much going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to set up Ironheart. They had to set up future movies for Namor. They had to set up future movies for. There's another character that they set up for Okoye. They had to set up a future show for her because she's probably gonna get one. You know, they had to set up the future of. What's the movie? What's the television show that's gonna the Thunderbolts? They had to set up that with the girl who was
the CIA director.
Yeah, the CIA director. They had to set up too much for this film when there was too much going on. Set up one thing maybe for the future, and then maybe tease a couple of things. Like I mean that movie's obviously far above this. You know, like how they set up with the Winter Soldier, like in that one scene where the CIA agent is getting probed by Sam Wilson and Captain America, and he just name drops Stephen Strange. That is good world building. That is good teasing. This movie was never subtle about it. Like the character they were talking about had to be in the movie and had to have a big part, and that's absurd.
Yeah. Is that any other positives you want to get into before heading into spoilers for this film?
There's not. It's not all the positives negate the negatives. It was just. I hate to use the word mid. I hate it.
No, literally. I told you, Ben. I hate the word mid. Yeah, people say it to me. I want it off the vocabulary list. I want it off everyone's mouths. No one should ever say it.
It makes people so angry.
I know, right? Like you can say this movie sucks, but if you say this is mid, people are like, oh, I'm gonna kill you now.
Yeah, the movie was okay. If you're a diehard Marvel fan, go watch it. If you love the first Black Panther, go watch it. However, it's not better than the first.
No,
Black Panther.
I feel like even people who I think the crazier people are saying that this is better. No, even if, but I feel like most people hopefully should agree that the first one is clearly better, and hopefully you have a brain to at least know that. But nonetheless, there will be people who are saying that already. But this is nowhere near as close to the first film. Mm-hmm. Let's just get into spoilers. Let's get into what we didn't like about it, because I can't hold back the spoilers if we talk about the things that we didn't
definitely. Spoilers from here on out. Be prepared.
Yeah, let me mark this down.
Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yes, but I'm not deliciously squared. Be prepared.
All right, Ben. What do we not like about this film?
Well, let's get into the nitty gritty.
Let's get to the easy one that we were just talking about. Ironheart.
Sure.
She didn't need to be in this film at all.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Her acting.
What they wanted to do was they wanted to do a.
Like, hey, here's this character, so when you see the show, it makes sense.
When you see the show, it's great, you know. But I would have just. The issue with this film is that what I think would have worked if T'Challa was the main character, right? Because then you're introducing characters to a character who's already set. You already know what he's about, what he is. But the issue with this one is that this is Shuri's origin story. You know, like this whole movie is Shuri's origin story.
It doesn't need
and it should
excess stuff.
It should have just been that.
Yeah.
And Namor's a great villain. However, I do think Namor was far better suited for T'Challa's Black Panther than Shuri's Black Panther.
Yeah,
definitely, especially with how the fight scene ended.
Yeah, they have similarities. Like in the end, as the film tries to like tell you, but I agree with you. It doesn't feel like right for that character where they are right now.
Sure.
What was I gonna say? Ironheart. I don't like her. I know she I don't know why they're heading towards she doesn't feel like Tony Stark's legacy, even though she clearly has nothing to do with him. She's supposed to
be, I think, in the comics.
In the comics, I hear she doesn't have any relevance towards Tony Stark.
Oh, okay.
And if it's like that in the film, then they're staying canon. But I hear her comics aren't even good to begin with. So why are when I heard they're doing Ironheart, I'm like, oh, is that with Tony's kids or with something who's related to Iron Man, like that kid from Iron Man 3 that we got teased in Endgame? I'm like, oh, it's not. It's someone else. I'm like, and then I go to find out that she has no relevance to Iron Man at all. I'm why?
She's at MIT.
It's why?
That was so weird. That was such a weird scene. There was that was the point where the film started to lose me. Was when they went to MIT. There was also that scene where Okoye was.
They're in the room.
Yeah. Okoye was like, "What's wrong with my makeup?" And I'm like, I'm like, why is this scene going on for far longer than it?
Yeah,
it
it's trying to be
should?
funny, and like the jokes didn't land, and I'm like,
Right.
this is like, why am I? Can I leave this room?
Yeah,
Like,
it
can
was.
I?
It was really weird because it was like sometimes the jokes, they say something like, "What's wrong with my makeup?" and then they cut off and then go to the next scene because that's comedic. But she went, "What's wrong with my makeup?" and then they talked for 2 more minutes, and I'm like, what? What is
At
this?
least it felt like
was
2 more
just,
minutes.
Yeah,
but
it was just so weird. It was so weird. But
yeah, it just felt like a. I
so
want to get out of this scene. There was
Yeah.
a scene like that in Sonic too. I like that film a lot, but there was a scene in that
Yeah.
film like, oh my god, get me out of this! I don't want to watch this anymore. It's so cringe.
Yeah.
Like not in a like in a.
Was
in
it
a,
the wedding scene?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that scene was atrocious, man.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I did see. I watched a review of it, and they said that the scene was awful.
Oh my god, yeah. But I felt the same vibes. I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, can we cut this out, please? But yeah, I don't. And even if you like her, even if her acting was okay, she doesn't really like pair well with these characters. The what do you call it? The chemistry isn't there. They're not like. I don't know. Like, it just felt weird.
No, I completely agree with you. I do think that most of the time it is up to the directors and writers to get a good performance from this, because obviously Marvel has some of the best casting directors on the planet.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's up there with the casting directors for things like Game of Thrones and Star Wars. But they, in terms of casting, like, they know that they got the right person. So it's up to the writers and the directors to help this actress show that. And I just think that there were so many times where she was just kind of commenting on what happened, and she, like, they were like, yeah, we're gonna use her, like Gen Z slang to make this a funny moment. Like, she's like, oh, is she gonna get heart palpitations?
She doesn't feel like
she's
a
not
person.
She's not gonna get a stroke, is she? Oh, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, obviously this is dangerous. She just she remade a dangerous herb. Like, did they not tell you what it is? Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, she
stupid.
doesn't even feel like a person. She just feels like I don't know. She like served no purpose in this film other than be like, I'm the smart.
Yes.
I'm the what do you call it? She's like a MacGuffin, but not even a good one at that, because she's like the thing that everyone's after. The CIA is out there because she built a vibranium tracking device, which all the world wants is vibranium. As the greedy little people bastards are. But
I do have to say, I did dislike how the U.S. government was. That the Marvel Cinematic Universe don't know what to do with the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Are they bad guys? Are they evil? Are they good guys?
Are they
half and half?
They could be all evil. It's just like the way they did it here. I'm like, that's.
Yeah, but also
it's like, because like, especially the scene with Martin Freeman, like in the CIA director. It's like, what is it that you want? Like, all the U.S. government to have all the vibranium in the world and their weapons? She's like, yeah. I'm like, really?
What?
Is
Yeah,
that how? Is that at least try to pretend like you have some ulterior motive or something?
No, definitely. And I mean, I think they've done pretty well with her character before this. In this movie, she was insufferable.
She really just seems like a discount Nick Fury, and I'm like, I don't want to see any more of her. But I get they're building her up as this like,
she's supposed to be in Thunderbolts. She's supposed to be. I forget what the black lady was in Suicide Squad. She's supposed to be that.
No, I know who you're talking about. Viola Davis character. I know who you're talking about. It's a Nick Fury, like a gathering of heroes, a team. Like a.
Yeah, but it was. It was crazy how much they did that, and as much as I love him,
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman comes on screen for anything, I'm like, ah. As much as people don't dislike the Hobbit trilogy, Martin Freeman is
Sherlock.
Bilbo.
I love him because of Sherlock. Yeah.
Martin Freeman is Bilbo, and he will always be my Bilbo. And anytime I read, even though I read The Hobbit way before the Hobbit movies came out, it's my favorite book of all time because it was my entrance to these made-up worlds. I would not be on this podcast if it wasn't for The Hobbit. I would not read Lord of the Rings once in a year because of The Hobbit, and I would not be in love with other fiction and fantasy such as The Witcher, Game of Thrones, if I did not read The Hobbit a billion times as a kid. So seeing him on screen is like a celebration. And when they got the scene where he was, and they built it up well, where he was like jogging, and I was like, ah! I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be him.
They even said it like my favorite white boy, and like, hey, I know who it is.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it is. Or she said my favorite colonizer.
No, she says colonizer later, but she says white boy at first.
Of course.
When they say those jokes, I'm like, yeah.
I was like, it's my boy.
Yeah.
Let's go. But they really give him nothing in this film, which is really sad.
Unfortunately, I want to cut out all his scenes because they serve no purpose.
They serve no purpose. They should have just talked about the U.S. government like it was its own entity, not show it. But also, another thing with as much as people didn't like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's final episode where he preaches to them, at least show that when the U.S. government gets confronted, like how Captain America confronted them in The Winter Soldier and Civil War, and like how Sam Wilson confronted them more recently about being more empathetic, at least show some kind of growth here. Because it just feels like that these superheroes... They're
getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it just feels like these superheroes are talking to a brick wall, you know? And like people didn't like that scene. At least show that there has been some change.
Yeah, like there's this lady creating chaos for like no reason when like literal Avengers save the entire planet. What side are you on? Yeah. What are you trying to do by like, hey, go kill this? I don't understand what she had to gain from like sending Yelena to kill Hawkeye. I don't know. What is your goal here?
Don't know.
Do you like
this is why the MCU feels so disconjointed, because this U.S. government completely different from the Falcon and Winter Soldier government. You know, completely different. It's
maybe during the Sokovia Accords incident in Civil War, this kind of like backstabbing behind the scenes kind of stuff makes sense. But like we're at a point where there's still conflict because of the aftermath of Endgame, but it shouldn't really be like that anymore.
Or make another government be awful. I don't know. Maybe make the government that has been the most awful to the African people. Maybe make the British government the villains, you know? Because they're the worst. They've been the worst. They've been the worst for years.
They still are now in a sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, in terms of African, I mean, obviously the American, I take that back, obviously.
No, of course. I'm talking about no, you're right.
Obviously enslavement and all that stuff. But hey, like, they're still not giving back your like jewels and artifacts.
But Ben, it belongs in a museum.
No, it belongs in a museum, not there.
No, you're right.
You know,
but like, like I wouldn't mind them portraying the government this way. It just seems like like you said, just disjointed.
They don't know what to do with the U.S. government.
Yeah, and and while Namor is like the antagonist or villain per se, I mean, he's more of an antagonist than a villain, but he is like quote unquote the villain for the story. It is really the governments that are kind of like the cause of this, like of the conflict, because Namor is trying to protect his people from the discovery of their entire civilization, and then Wakanda's just. You know what I mean?
What the two Black Panthers have done really well is to create two really unique villains in the sense that they make you feel for them, you know, because you feel for Killmonger, you know, you feel for, even though they cross that line where you're like, oh, I can't be with you anymore.
Fortunately for at least Namor, I can give him that. I never felt like he was doing exactly inherently evil things.
No,
like,
definitely.
Like, I can't side with you anymore. But like,
I mean, trying to kill the entire world is a little bit absurd. But
no, you're right. I'm sorry. I forget he mentioned that.
He was like, I'm gonna burn everything to the ground.
Hey, but by the way, they're acting like, let's just take all the vibranium for us. I'm like, you guys deserve to die.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's like at that point.
That's not the civilians. That's the government.
No. But like the governments,
but I mean, and I agree with you. Is that it's like they create really, really good villains with some really good backstory, and I really like how it is based on racial injustices.
Yeah, with two different races and coming together, and like, it's in your face. These allegories are not like hidden messages; they're very in your face, and there's something that I usually, that at least the woke people they get pissed off regardless. So
course.
and usually when the stuff like that is in your face, I'm like I tend to
Yeah.
roll my eyes regardless of how good it is. But these stories like with Black Panther and in this one at least, it doesn't bother me. I really like it.
I think the MCU Phase 4, for all of its faults, I think it's handled like the issue of race really well.
Yeah.
Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, when they did that scene with the
a lot of people thought it
cops,
was. Oh man, that was really good.
that was really good.
Some people said, "I'm like, oh, it's too. We get it, man. We get it." I'm like, I don't
Like,
care.
dude,
I really like it.
like,
it felt real.
it felt
like
real.
for a
yeah,
moment.
and the backstory with the black captain, the black super soldier who was tested on, which also harkens back because in actual history, black people were actually tested on and used as test subjects in the past, and it harkens back to that. Yeah, really good stuff, and I'm glad that they got that right, because if they got that wrong, that would be a whole different reckoning.
Yeah.
That would come towards them. But yeah, and they did it really well in this one as well.
Yeah, I just they handled that kind of story and pretty well. It's just between let's just talk about Letitia Wright as Shuri.
Sure.
As how she is the main character. We have a very obvious trope character in the first film. She's kind of like she suits more of the role of the jokester.
I don't want it.
Like, oh, that's what she is now. But at least in the first film, she's kind of like
in the first film. Yeah.
No, in the first film, she's like the comedy, the jokester.
Yeah,
type.
she's the funny little sister.
Yeah, she's the funny sister with the jokes, and obviously she's a great character and huge personality. Well, the reason why a lot of people love her is because of how well she interacted with Chadwick Boseman's Black Panther.
Yeah.
But here, she's tackling a much serious and different role.
Which props to Letitia Wright. She did not sign up for this. You know, to like, even though me and Edgar think that they really didn't hit the peaks that this movie should have, Letitia Wright did not sign on to ever do this. So
I mean, neither did the director in the first. A director in the first place, because he wrote an entirely different script.
Yeah.
Before, unfortunately, the passing of Chadwick Boseman, so they they picked up their stuff and says, we have to do this in a sense of like people want a film, so we'll at least give them one. And I respect that, and Ryan Coogler, the director, in that sense immensely. Yeah. Because for taking
Ryan
on this
Coogler
role,
is a really good director as well.
At least in this film, I'll give it one thing. At least in this film, I never felt like, oh, it's so obvious that Black Panther is like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like usually in those films where like, I don't know how to describe it. Like I guess like in Fast and the Furious, I haven't seen any of the Fast and Furious, but I guess after Paul Walker died, it must have been obvious. Like you can't even, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you get the feeling?
No, definitely, it was very obvious.
Obviously, there was a hole in Black Panther too, but like it wasn't like, it wasn't the main cause of the story's
definitely.
problems. It was just the writing that was the story.
Yeah,
problems.
Fast and the Furious is bad without Paul Walker. Like really bad.
Yeah.
Paul Walker was really, I think, the person who kind of kept Vin Diesel and the rest of the writing crew grounded in, that this should be about racing and, but I really think him passing was kind of them just going off the rails and doing their own thing, which to be honest, I think this film handled Chadwick Boseman's death well. I think that Rise of Skywalker handled Carrie's death okay.
Yeah, that felt more awkward than this did. I thought I was gonna get those same vibes. I'm like, it's obvious she died. Like,
but Fast and the Furious did have the best send off of a
but
of
mind
an
you,
actor who
they
passed away.
didn't have any footage of Chadwick Boseman. They couldn't do anything.
It sucks. But they didn't either for they had his brother, Paul Walker's brother, and they CGI'd his face.
Well, in the end, but like I'm talking about the rest of the film.
Oh yes, the rest of the film.
But they couldn't literally do anything for this one. Of course,
if he filmed this movie and then at the end he died, that would be a completely different movie.
Chadwick Boseman, it'd probably,
it'd be really sad.
But what I mean is that like it's
really sad. But keep going. Sorry.
What I mean is that Chadwick Boseman, his passing doesn't like intervene with the writing directly to where like it doesn't fit. I feel like it's just the writing is just like not go great on its own feet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just this movie feels jumbled. It feels slow. Yet
it could have gone through 3 or 4 more drafts. I think.
And in the third act, yet it feels like we're rushing to the ending all of a sudden, and it feels so unceremonious when Shuri becomes the Black Panther.
Yeah.
Yes, they were going the route of like, I'm taking revenge up until I don't, but even then I'm like, oh, I thought she was gonna not get the Black Panther, and then she goes through a mini arc of what she does to get it. Oh no, but she does have the powers. All of a
Maybe
sudden.
they were afraid that it would follow too much the same beats that Sam Wilson went through to being Captain America. Like he's like, I don't necessarily want this, So maybe but I don't know.
But it went more along with like, I want it this way, but it seems like the ancestors didn't give it to me because I'm full of rage and revenge.
Yes.
But she does get him. So like, okay, we're going down this path, but it was kind of done weirdly. Oh, she has the powers. It was kind of like, I thought it was gonna be like a big moment of triumph. I didn't expect them to show Chadwick Boseman, but like in your mind of like ancestors, I would expect her to have a moment where like she wakes up and I'm like, I met him. I've seen him. She goes through some closure. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it didn't have to go down that route, but I felt like regardless of what direction they were going to, it was going to build up immensely towards it. But they didn't. And there was like, oh, she has the powers, and like, she's going down a different direction of revenge, so she's going to,
Does Shuri, has she done like combat stuff before?
No, she just uses those wrists.
Yeah, she
like,
uses those wrist things.
You know.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I guess she does have super strength, but I'm also like
a plot hole in terms of like, how good is she with combat? Is she just all of a sudden good? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it would have been better if this pissed me off.
How does
she survive?
No,
that's my opinion.
My thing is, how does it pierce? The suit is made of vibranium. The whole end of the fight in the first Black Panther, you can't penetrate the suit even with vibranium, which is the suit is made out of.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is, the train's manipulating, so you can only strike whenever the vibranium's like moving away or disjointed. But yet his spirit, they say pure vibranium. I don't know if that's different.
They
from
said
the suit.
Raw vibranium.
Like,
so it might have been like
maybe
it might have been like that vibranium came from space and was specially crafted or something.
Just pure, like unfiltered, I guess.
Yeah, it might have been like forged.
But in my
something.
mind, I'm like, isn't that? It's vibranium. Like, how does that 100%?
Yeah, and that's the thing. With the Black Panther suit is that you can only beat them by like giving them like flesh wounds. Because you can't pierce it. Because if you pierce it, it'll eventually pull you out of it.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been better, but to go completely through her, and
I thought the kinetic energy thing would stop that from happening.
Definitely. I didn't even think of that. I was just so focused on how is she surviving this, and I was like, God, your intestines would get messed up.
Yeah, because it pierces a hole through her big spear, by the way.
Yeah, through her abdomen.
Yeah. So and she like does a flip.
And then she does a flip afterwards. Yeah. And she's just kind of like, ow.
Yeah, I get it. She's like, she has like powers, but like, there's gotta, come on. But yeah, I mean, I did like how Namor had a very obvious weakness. He had to be dried out like a fish. And he had to be away from water.
Some good stuff with that.
But eventually she's going to kill him, and she ends up not doing it because of his backstory.
Yeah,
and in terms of like,
we knew that was gonna
his
happen,
way of dealing, his way is dealing death, and her way of dealing death, she's been not wanting to confront it, and she doesn't.
Yeah.
She realizes that through all this grief and strife, they're not the enemy in the sense. It's like the outside world. It's like, not inherently like the white people, but it's like it's the outside world, the surface world, the government, the other nations, other people that aren't us too. We shouldn't be fighting. Why are we? We're like literally the same people. I like that. But up until that point, I'm like, we got there too fast. But we didn't build on that specifically. Like, it was introduced.
That should have just been the whole movie, in my opinion. I just think that they tried to focus on too many things at once, which is kind of what later, Phase 3 Marvel movies tried to do, or Phase 2, just focus on way too many things. Not Marvel. Sorry, DC. It's what DC. This movie did kind of give me hard DC vibes in the sense of like trying to do too much all at once, trying to set up too much.
I guess that's what happens
once,
when you don't have a non-Avengers film at the end of your phase.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
You can't do it well.
You can't lead up to anything.
Yeah. You're supposed to inherently conclude, and like I get it. This phase has been so in our faces with like the next generation.
Do a different superhero team up movie.
Like the next generation, like we're in the spoilers already. So at the end credit scene, T'Challa's son. Sorry, completely.
Yeah, T'Challa's son goes, "My name, Chadwick Boseman."
We
or
made
he goes,
that.
Yeah, we made that joke.
My name is Wakanda Forever. Like,
Black Panther by Marvel Studios.
It was like a Ray. My name's Ray Skywalker. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But
have you seen that video of like the people getting angry at the movie theater when she says that? They're like, "Don't say it. Don't say it. I'm Ray Skywalker," and people like throw popcorn and stuff. And
I get the feeling that half of them already seen it. They just wanted to.
Yeah,
be
of
there.
course, of course. I was so astonished when I saw that moment. I was astonished in the way of, wow, this is one of the worst movies I've
never seen a rare reaction. Obviously, I knew the movie was bad, but I was sitting there trying to enjoy it. But like, you had such a. Did
we see it together?
It's like you've seen it before, I think, but I was seeing it with you for the first time.
Yeah.
It's when Chewbacca like gets shot out, and you're like, "What?" And you're like, "What is happening?" I turn to you. You're like throwing up, like, but not throwing up. You're like, what is happening? I never seen such a I give up moment from you in a movie theater before.
I think I also reacted big when she used the dagger to find those the Wayfinder or whatever, and I was like what? I was like, it's a water planet. It's gonna be moving. It's gonna always be moving. It's absurd, but yeah, I mean,
obviously,
that's a whole other video.
Yeah, we not saying that T'Challa's son being T'Challa's son is bad. It's just that
no, definitely
this entire phase has been like trying to shove down our throats like the next generation is here and it will now take
That's
on
when
the
I
torch.
actually got sad, is when he said T'Challa, and Letitia Wright did a good job of selling that scene, that she was really sad and stuff. I was like, man, I really like that. But
yeah, obviously this entire, and we'll get to, I know, Ben, you want to talk about the Phase 4, but to tease that before we conclude our thoughts on Black Panther 2 as a whole.
Sure.
Even though this entire phase has been trying to tell us that, and like this wasn't supposed to, don't expect a big like build up to like an Avengers film. Like, don't expect that. We're clearly like doing an origin phase of sorts. Just because that's what it's trying to do does not mean it was successful.
No.
And neither was this one, because it tried to, like Ben said, it was trying to do so many things at the same time, trying to start so many things, and it could not finish its own story properly.
They're trying to start too many things. Why don't you just focus on the characters you have right now and then add one or two things?
You had an opportunity to do something really interesting. You now no longer have the main character in your story. You have only the side characters. That's like something that rarely happens.
You can't do often unless, you're pissing off your main character and you kick him out of the show, or you kick him out of the movie.
Like, literally, you cannot use him, or like you can't. In this case, they did not want to recast him, so you have a situation like this where
I'm glad they didn't. And
the side characters are some of the best parts of the first film. I love Winston Duke as M'Baku.
M'Baku,
he's like
great in this movie too.
Love him. I
M'Baku.
wanted more of him, but they had to give us more Ironheart.
He's challenging for the throne. Maybe that's why I was saying it should have been more Wakanda central.
He would have been such a great like stand-in father figure, but doesn't know how to do that because he just was re-invited into like the Wakandan society.
He puts the idea in her head that he shouldn't kill her. He shouldn't kill Namor.
Like, can we have more of that relationship with Shuri throughout the film? But he was great. It's just there wasn't enough of him, and there wasn't enough of the what do you call who Okoye is? What group is she? Like the Warriors?
Oh, I don't know. They're the
Dora Milaje. Sorry,
the Dora Milaje. Yeah,
the Dora Milaje.
They had cooler moments in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, to be honest.
Ayo, I don't know how to pronounce her name. The Dora Milaje that's in that is in this film, but not enough. They just introduced a whole new one that they keep. I don't know why they introduced this new chick that's supposed to be like funny.
This one should have. Yeah, I agree with
like
you.
Just
this
you
one
have
should have.
You already have one. Stick with her.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean.
This one should have been more character based about the side characters. That would have been very, very interesting.
You have your interesting characters. Stick with them. Don't add any more. Like,
and I love I love Namor, but if you needed to not have a major villain in this one, fine. Bring Namor in the next one or in another one. But I mean, Namor was the best part of this film.
Could you imagine an
MCU movie without a main villain?
With like a plot like that, just a drama. Can you imagine how that would change everything?
God, that would be so good.
Can you imagine, right?
So
like,
good.
like can you have so many new cool things to do with, yet they follow so many same formulas in a sense, and it's just very disappointing.
Yeah, the movie is a jumbled mess, but is it the worst of the worst? No. It's very akin to if you mashed all the prior movies and television shows of Phase 4 of the MCU, where this film is, it's probably where the median is.
Yeah.
You know, it's where the middle is. It's just to the bad side of the middle.
Yeah, that's on the high end spectrum of the bad. Like it's for me.
Well, since we're talking about Phase 4, we're just gonna just do a whole review of it. What I'm gonna do is I'm just going to say I'm just going to say all the titles that were in Phase 4. Actually, Edgar, Phase 4.
You want to rank them? You want to rank them a bit?
No. We'll have a whole video for that.
Like
we'll do a live stream.
We'll rank them in a live stream. Yeah,
because that's gonna take so long. And we'll do everything. In the MCU. Either that, or we'll do a ranking. Like we'll rank 1 to to the last.
I meant tier list. However,
whichever.
Either one way or another. At some point, I'd like to do something like that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I'm just gonna name them off. We're just gonna give a quick little thoughts. Especially since a lot of these shows came out before the Manga Monday show was
I have
even
not,
a thing.
Mind you, I haven't seen She-Hulk at all. I've only seen 2 episodes of Miss Marvel. I'd not finished it because I just didn't want to.
I've seen it. I can give thoughts, but I mean, there's a reason why you didn't see it.
Yeah. Not the obvious reason. Like I just didn't like it. Like, please don't come at me. Like
he just didn't like it. I mean, the writing was atrocious.
Yeah.
And not in Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was just
I just
boring at times. Yeah. But yeah. Let's start with what I think like Phase 4 started off with the bang and really pulled me back in to the MCU. WandaVision, right? Yeah. What a unique and different experience that really stretched the acting chops of Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
Just really stretching.
It was a really new, weird experience. First TV show of Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And first TV show of a Marvel MCU film, which is
after the back of the success of The Mandalorian.
Yeah. So a lot of cool things were introduced. Some things didn't pan out as we liked them to, like with Boner Quicksilver throwaway thing.
Yes.
And then like the end episode with the casual, usual fight. And I didn't like the way what they did with Wanda, but nonetheless, it had me all the way through because I was intrigued as to what was happening, and Marvel had my attention with what they were doing with that. I really liked it. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think like that scene where Paul Bettany and
I had one of those worst jump scares. I mean, in terms of good. Yeah. In the MCU.
Oh yeah.
Jesus, like when the dead Vision shows up, like when Wanda's looking at him, I'm like, oh my god, it just my heart just stopped. Like,
but that scene with Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen yelling, I will never forget that acting moment.
Yeah, a lot of
Bettany was like, "Stop lying to me," and he like flies in the air. I was like, "Oh, this is really good."
Whenever the third wall breaks were happening, I'm like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it was a really really good like kind of you had to piece together what was happening, and it also in terms of the MCU, it felt connected with Jimmy Woo, with the girl from Thor,
Yeah, seeing them was really cool. I really liked that.
Yeah, and then the child from Miss Marvel, or no, Captain Marvel. Was in this.
Yeah.
The next one, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I actually really like this.
This one was one of those where I enjoyed all the way through, and then after I thought about it more, I didn't like. That's how I feel. Ben doesn't really feel like that. I just like I look back on it, and I'm like,
just because I liked it doesn't mean it didn't have major issues. Yeah. Obviously, the main villain was awful.
One of my favorite chemistry between two actors and two characters though were
Yeah.
Bucky and the Falcon. So I was
And
extremely
Zemo
this-
just
I think
added to it.
This
I
was the
think.
one.
Yeah.
This is the number one looking forward to show I was looking forward to.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and I got a lot of good stuff on it. Like a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff out of it. Zemo dancing, could watch
Oh,
that
yeah.
for like
and
hours.
and they brought in that really, I forgot what it was called, the really edgy town that they went to. That's from the X-Men universe. So that's just a really good
Germany or something? What?
No. So they went not Germany. What?
Not that.
No,
That's not a city, but
they
you know,
went. They went to. Remember, it's that city that doesn't have any borders. Check it up. It was that crime-based city that they went to.
Is it real in real life?
No, it's not. It's not a real city. It's from the X-Men comics though. So it was really weird to see them, have it in here.
Was it the one where Zemo was dancing, or was it?
Yeah,
where the...
so it's the place where Zemo danced. It's where they went.
Madripoor.
Undercover. Yeah, Madripoor.
There you
Yeah,
go.
a big city in the X-Men comics. The X-Men comics are my favorite from Marvel, other than Spider-Man. But yeah, it was really cool, and once again felt connected with because they had the
Dora Milaje,
They had the Dora Milaje. They had who's
U.S. agent,
U.S. agent. They had who's
Agent Carter, but like the
Yes,
niece,
yeah,
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
But who was why am I forgetting his name? Sidekick to Iron Man.
Rhodey.
Yeah, they had Rhodey in it at the beginning. Remember
yeah,
they had
they
that
did.
scene. Yeah.
Wow, I forgot. I haven't seen this show in a
And-
while,
and
like,
that's-
since last year.
That made you feel like they could just add any actor to these, to these television shows, and just be like, just make it feel connected.
Yeah.
Which they lost. The thing about thinking about it afterwards and then hating it, Black Widow. That's what happened to me for this.
I'm
movie.
getting the opposite effect now. I feel like I'm enjoying that movie a lot
Black
more,
Widow?
considering what
Yeah.
we're seeing now.
No, yes.
I feel like I'll
I
watch
agree
that
with you.
movie a lot sooner than I'll be watching Black Panther 2 in the
Yes,
future.
I agree.
Like, cause all the way through, I laughed. Yeah, I had a fun.
Yeah.
I had a really fun time.
It was
with
just a
it.
fun time. I think that people dislike this movie because it was released at the wrong time.
Yeah.
It was in the wrong order. This should have come straight after Civil War.
Yeah.
And I think if you release this after Civil War, it's going to be in a lot of people's top 20 Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But
Not
yeah,
saying that it doesn't have the faults that it does.
No, of
that it
course.
has, but yeah.
obviously
'cause-
the CGI was awful. Obviously.
Yeah,
you
a lot
know,
of
yeah.
lighting stuff. Yelena was and David Harbour as a Red Warrior. Red Warrior?
Yeah, Red Warrior. Brilliant, right?
Yeah, really.
David Harbour is amazing.
Red? No, it's Red something. It's something else.
I almost said Red Riot.
I was
That
almost
is-
gonna say Red Menace. I'm like, that's not Red Guardian.
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian.
Unbreakable Red Riot.
That entire family not sequence. The family. That entire like.
That family dynamic.
Yeah, that dynamic.
Really
with
nice and
great
wholesome,
chemistry,
yeah.
great casting. I really liked it. It was even though Black Widow was such a side character, considering how important she is, she was still a question mark that people wanted to know more
Yeah.
about, and I really liked that about
Yeah,
about
and
the
David
film.
David Harbour's like
God, he was so funny.
like deadbeat dad, but he's also like but he's MCU funny, but like in a different way,
In a
like,
good way.
He's funny in the way that MCU should be. Like people should be different in different ways.
Yeah.
but he's a deadbeat dad who is well-meaning, which is not something that you see very often because
Yeah.
usually deadbeat dads are just bastards. But
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah, I'm like I am what I am, and that's what he says.
I really liked that.
Loki, probably the best of the television shows.
Yeah, it is surprisingly. I mean, that to me was controversial. A lot of people don't like how. Well, a lot of Loki fans, stands more like
Yeah.
didn't like the fact that not even just stands. A lot of people didn't like the fact that Loki ended up with what's her face.
Loki.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
but
I know
she
a
had
lot
a
of people
different name.
didn't like
Sophie.
that.
There you
Yeah,
go. Sophie.
Yeah, Sylvie.
Sylvie. Sorry, the Sylvie. A lot of them didn't like that at all. I didn't like it, but I didn't really have a problem with it either.
Yeah, I
but
didn't either.
but it
I
was.
think it's actually quite brilliant. I think Loki's egoism, like him falling in love with himself.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Some people think
so
that's too on the
funny.
nose, but y'all can shut
But
up.
I
So,
love
like,
it.
yeah.
I love it. I think
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it.
Highlight Owen Wilson.
Owen
Brilliant,
Wilson,
right?
yeah.
He's gonna be in the next Deadpool, which
Yeah.
is I'm really excited
Yeah,
for.
but this
yeah.
really felt like, oh, we're dealing. like this is something serious. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the TVA and all the stuff they were doing was like really great. And
Yeah.
like one of my favorite moments was like when they had the Infinity Stones in a drawer and realized like this universe is bigger and more important than these things.
Yeah,
like,
and that's the correct step for the MCU, because the MCU, a lot of people are like, oh, what are they going to do after Thanos? But in reality, like, the MCU is so huge with so many different issues and so many different villains and superheroes that it can only go up from here, you know?
yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. The TVA was so fascinating. The villain was fascinating. Kang the Conqueror, or I guess his name was the Chosen.
I'm
maybe.
intrigued. I didn't hate his scene. I just felt like I saw him and I'm like, who are you? I know people who read the comics know who he is, but I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I really
sure.
don't. Like he had an underwhelming appearance and like
Sure.
I'm like, you're trying to make him feel important, but at the same time I'm like, I kind of don't care.
I really liked it. I thought it was really well done. I think the actor did a really good job. I think they casted the best actor to play like that multi-personality, multiversal personality person.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I liked it because I feel like it veered away from what we saw from the last two shows, which was it had to have,
I will agree.
It had to have a big battle.
I do agree. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It felt like I did like what we were leading up to. I like what he said and what they were dealing with, what they're talking. I just didn't like the way it was presented.
Yeah.
Is what I want to say.
I think it was like, yeah, dude. I think it was like the best prelude that we could have gotten for Spider-Man No Way Home. You know, from the verging of the universes and stuff. I was like,
this
great.
is like it.
You know?
I mean, while I like that, I feel like they shouldn't have done it because
They shouldn't have done it this early on.
It builds
yes.
in your head that it's leading towards this ultimate event of things that just like.
And it is, but they blew their load too early.
Yeah,
you know?
like
they did. Yeah,
they did, but they didn't. So
yeah,
I feel like
exactly. What If? Did you see What If?
No, I only saw one episode, 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I only saw the Captain America one. And then
the
the
Emperor
Doctor
Strange.
one.
Yeah. Really, that Emperor Strange one was really cool.
I saw the beginning of the Guardians of T'Challa as the leader of the Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy,
that was
Star-Lord. That was really interesting to see Thanos like
the final performance of Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Final acting performance of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really weird ride. I want them to get weirder with it in season 2 because we know they are going with season 2. They cut out what I thought was gonna be my favorite episode, which was what if Iron Man went to Sakaar instead, and it was gonna be him and a Gamora solo story.
Yeah.
Because in the comics, Tony Stark and Gamora have in one of the main issues they are together.
Yeah. The reason why I didn't continue this series is one, it didn't grab my interest, but my brother made a good point when he hasn't seen this series, but it's like he made a simple brain dumb moment, but at the same time I completely agree with it. He's like, but it's not canon, and I know it's not supposed to be canon, so like it's not relevant to the story, so why should I watch it? I'm like, well, it is supposed to be like that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It has no effect to it didn't draw me in for that reason. Yes, that's literally what it's trying to do. It's trying to be like, what if? It doesn't have to be connected, but I'm like, I didn't watch it because I wasn't interested. I'm like, if it has no effect and there's nothing really interesting, I guess, because it's not connected to the MCU. One could argue that it is because the multiverse. Shut up, I get it. Of course, but it literally isn't in a sense. But yeah, say what you will.
Great. Probably the best out-and-out movie of Phase 4, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Really liked it.
It really gave me the vibe of a Phase 2 or Phase 3, early Phase 3 Marvel movie.
Yeah, mind you, really I wish they kept more of the kung fu action style trope they were going with, because they eventually just go with a monster battle in the end. Yeah. But I really loved it. Shenwu, the father, Shang-Chi's father, really great villain.
Yeah, dude,
Loved
really
him.
good.
Loved
really
him.
good.
And the fighting sequences when they happened were phenomenal. Best action sequences I've ever seen.
I do think the ending they didn't need to have a big CGI.
Shu
battle,
Wenwu, sorry, Wenwu is his name. The father figure.
I don't think they needed to have a big action CGI battle, but because I think the movie that train scene, man. Oh, that bus scene.
I feel like the villain should have just ended with the father.
Yeah.
Because in the end, there is a conflict between the two, and it's interrupted. Yeah. And it's like, oh, now there's a bigger bad, so we got to deal with them. But the father dies, so they can't really conclude that.
Really excited to see Shang-Chi. in future stuff.
Yeah.
This was a little bit of a hiccup, but this a little bit of a hiccup. It's probably the worst movie of the entire MCU, the Eternals.
Yeah, I agree with you there, buddy. Because this is the first one that I'm like, is this bad? I couldn't believe it because even watching Thor: Dark World and then watching it again and Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2 and even Black Widow, which came out recently by this point, I'm like, yeah, they're bad, but they're enjoyable at least. But this one, I'm like,
it's boring and it's bad.
Yeah, and I was so surprised at people calling this the best of the best, and the top 5. I'm like, what the heck?
It was the most DC movie out of all of these, and I don't mean that as a compliment.
God,
I'm not talking about the Dark Knight series.
It was so bland cinematic wise.
I'm talking about the OG Justice League movie that came out. Zack Snyder directed.
No, Josh
Whedon. There you go.
No, Zack Snyder did the
good one. That's right.
Yeah.
Josh Whedon, awful one.
But it was at least that was it's it was the antithesis to okay, we get it. You don't like quippy. I mean, it had quippy moments, but it felt like it was trying to be
something
we're
else.
Adult now. We're no funny woo superpowers. We're gods and we're dealing with
yeah, but
real
the DC universe has been doing that for so long that I'm that's why Shazam I feel was a breath of fresh air for DC.
Yeah, but this was and it had quippy moments, mind you, but this felt just boring. It just and like Black Panther 2, well, I'll agree Black Panther 2 is better than this. This one was I'm never gonna watch you again.
No,
you're not even. I don't know.
To be honest, I'm not sure if Kevin Feige's ever gonna watch it again because it feels like the stuff that happened in this movie had no major consequence or no major talking point.
This was I think first. This was one of the first directors, and mind you, a lot of other directors of the films we talked about before could have also been in the same case. But I remember there was an article talking about how the director for Eternals hadn't watched a lot of the films before. So we're at a point. Yes, it's not their job to watch them all, but how can you direct an entire how can you do this without knowing what you're dealing with?
Yeah.
Even when you're writing an original story like this that is very grounded and so far away from everything else, you still you can't give these directors these kind of jobs without that in mind.
No,
without knowing all these stories together, separate as they are.
Definitely
I just didn't.
And it definitely got jumbled more and more as the phase went on.
Yeah, this is just such a bland film. I'm over it.
No, definitely.
I've already been over it.
I say it's hiccup because the next one I actually really liked, Hawkeye. I really liked Hawkeye.
Yeah, I like it. I'll probably watching it again. I'll be watching it again for Christmas.
Because
it's a Christmas.
It's a good Christmas, and it's probably the best scenario of bringing a new side character to the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, in this phase, this is what I mean because Kate Bishop was just such an awesome character.
We get to see Lalo Salamanca, baby.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize it was him until I finished Better Call Saul. I'm like, he's in Hawkeye.
Oh
dude. That's so crazy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it again for that reason. But
yeah, dude.
But Yelena's also back, which is great.
She's great. Yeah.
The comedy works here. The action of it is enjoyable, and it feels like we're in the MCU again.
Yeah, and Jeremy Renner kills it as he most often does. I know a lot of people hate Jeremy Renner. I think he's a really good actor.
My least favorite moment is Echo in this.
Oh yeah,
I don't like her. I don't care.
Yeah.
But
I think they didn't do too much to shove her in your face.
Yeah, but I just kind of. You can do without her in this plot line.
I don't think she needs her own show. I think it would be cool.
It would have
if she
been
showed
much
up.
interesting with just Yelena. The Yelena conflict between Hawkeye.
No, definitely.
And I haven't finished Daredevil, so I can't really have a foothold in this. But I heard that, and it really seemed like they did Fisk wrong in this. When it came to the reveal, I'm like, this is such a beloved character from probably the best Marvel TV show ever, and you introduce the character here's a phone, look at him. I'm like, come on. I'm like, I felt the same way with Spider-Man: No Way Home when introducing some of its villains, but in this one, I'm like, I feel your pain. Such a beloved character from a TV show, just introducing him so.
Vincent D'Onofrio, I do have to say, that scene where he's talking.
No, he was great. It just felt weird when he boom, they just shoots him and he's like, is he dead? How can you just?
Definitely not.
No, but
he was. Yeah,
they treat him
he's the best villain in the in all of Marvel that doesn't have like uber superpowers.
Yeah.
He's the best, in my opinion, the best street level villain.
Yeah.
Because he holds, and anytime he's overthrown, he brings better villains into it because they want the power. Like even in the video game, you know?
Literally,
like,
yeah.
In the video game, he's like, if you take me down, somebody worse will come in and take my
and we're
place.
like, shut up.
Yeah,
and then
we're like, get out of here.
And then we're like, oh. wait, come back, please.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. But yeah, so he's gonna be great in Daredevil Born Again. It's just all depends on the writing.
Yeah.
Best movie going experience: Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah, goes up there with Infinity War and Endgame.
Yes.
Mind you, I don't look in this film as gracefully as I did back then. It kind of wears off its fondness, my fondness for it as because it was a big fan service film, and like as time goes by, it doesn't hit the same way as it did first time viewing. But man, what a build up and an experience it was going to this film.
Yeah,
it was a cultural event. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, we all knew it was coming, but we couldn't believe our eyes when we saw it.
Yeah, we were like, is this real?
Yeah,
man, it was great.
Yeah, but there's gripes with it, and I feel like that's a whole other conversation.
I do think that a lot of the gripes would be solved if Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness happened before this.
And directing in certain shots and like the and how they dealt with some of the villains and
my main issue is Doctor Strange, but if you didn't know, Doctor Strange was supposed to be before this, and he was supposed to be affected by the Darkhold. That's why he was so adamant about killing these guys. You know, that's why all those dark shots. He was supposed to have the third eye, you know, in it. But they had some issues with the filming, so they had to put it back. But yeah, we love Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yeah. It's probably, in terms of like films I would watch again, this is the one in this phase that I would watch again wholeheartedly. Moon Knight. I loved Moon Knight. I know that you were on the fence about it.
Wow. Now we're in the phase of Marvel where this is the first Marvel show we talked about on the podcast.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. This was the beginning of the jumbleness.
Yeah. I mean, I still agree with everything that I said, but it just kept getting worse. So I like this a bit more now because it felt like when it's trying to be its own thing, it worked.
Yeah.
Serious. God, the score is so great.
The score is great, right?
And Oscar Isaac did a phenomenal job. And
I think
it went back to the mystery that we were getting from WandaVision, intrigue that I really liked in Moon Knight. Mm-hmm. But all the things that I said, go check out like the first few videos. I don't know what podcast episode it was, but go check out those. But go check out those if you want to hear my opinion on it, because I still hold to them. I still believe in them. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I just think that episode 5 of this series was some of the best of the MCU in terms of theatrical buildup, in terms of acting. God, Oscar Isaac, man, the sequels of the Star Wars sequels really did him wrong.
You say character diversity or character what were you saying about Loki and the what's his face? The blue.
Oh, I was talking about King the Conqueror.
Yeah, you were talking about character, multiple characters, Oscar Isaac. Nailed it, man. Nailed it. Like when he shifted, so great.
Which is really good, because when I first read the Moon Knight comics, which I was about 11 or 12, I first read it, and his American personality, I forgot his name.
Jonathan something.
Yeah, right? His American personality.
John Lark? No, that's something else.
No. His American personality is the main one. So you would know my shock when figuring out at the beginning of the series that Steven is the main one. But then they change it, and it's
Jake Lockley.
Jake Lockley. Yeah. Are you sure? No, Jake Lockley is the
American one.
Yeah, you're. Oh
well, no, Jake Lockley is like the Brooklyn one, like the.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
somebody else. Jake Lockley's the guy who shows up at the end.
Stephen Grant's the British one, and
Stephen
Mark.
Mark.
Sorry,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about Jake Lockley.
No. And Mark, he was he's always been the main one. So and Stephen has been the second one, and then other iterations. There's been 5 different personalities. There've been 6, but so you would know my shock when I was like. I was like, oh man, Steven's the main one in this one. Okay. But then they did a change shift brilliantly that I thought was some of the best build up the MCU
It's like
has
a Black,
done.
for me coming into this was like a Black Mirror vibe. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's not the main character. He's
Yeah,
not the main.
man.
It's so
Imagine learning
it's
that.
so depressing, sad, and the reason why he exists was that I really liked. Like
Imagine figuring out that you're not the main personality of your person. That would be crazy. But also, what I really liked was the message of it was that when you have multi-personality disorder, you're not supposed to be taught to shun one of them away. You're supposed to be taught for them to coexist.
Accept
you know?
it, you know?
Yeah, accept it. And that's what they do in this one. And man, God, I love this. I love this show. Like in the last episode when he's like kicking butt, and then he's the Egyptian Moon Knight from Mark, and then when he turns into Steven and he beats that guy and then he like fixes his jacket, I'm like, oh yes, I love that. Yeah. I love small stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
This is where it really began for me. Like where I really felt like
let's not talk too much about it. We had a 2-hour episode where we argue.
Yeah.
I have as I've listened to it again and watched it again, I've become more towards this film. But I still enjoy the Sam Raimi silliness.
Like I said,
still enjoy what it is.
Other than like Wakanda Forever, it's weird. I feel like it's weird. I feel like I know Wakanda, even though I didn't like, I'm fumbling. I'm like mumbling right now.
Fine.
Even though Wakanda Forever is a better film in a sense than Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, I still enjoyed Multiverse of Madness while sitting through it.
It was more interesting.
So at least then I was like, I watched it. I'm like, we had stuff to talk about. Me and Ben were like had fun and we were talking about stuff.
Yeah.
But in Wakanda Forever, I didn't, and I feel like I won't watch it again.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm like, Multiverse of Madness. I was like, what are you doing, Marvel? Sam Raimi, yeah, you did a good job, but like there is like interference from like higher ups, and
they didn't let him off his leash.
And then Raimi was dealing with such a serious film, even though he hadn't seen like other than 2 Marvel MCU films, he hadn't seen the rest of them. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like I was really confused what they were doing with this phase by this point. So all I think
WandaVision changed the direction of this film. I don't think it is a factual.
I really don't like Wanda. Was like one of my huge dislikes in this film.
And we've talked about that before, that the writing for Wanda wasn't the best.
Yeah.
The idea of something controlling the will of another person is just cheap and lazy, and it's just an excuse, you know. But the success of WandaVision made her the villain of this one, whereas it was originally supposed to be the Illuminati of that universe, which would have been far more interesting. Put Wanda in it, make her a hero, and have her and Strange fight off against these superhero nerds from another universe. That would be awesome, you know. Just do that. But yeah, then there's Miss Marvel.
I haven't. I said, only one episode.
He hasn't seen it. The first and last episode, great in terms of stylized, in terms of like what it is.
I heard that it went away from its over stylized. It
went away. It didn't go away. It completely abandoned it until the last episode, which I was like, what are you doing? Like,
that's what you had going for it, at least.
That's what made it different, and it was really, really good. The most boring villain in all of the MCU. Worst villain.
I don't even know who the villain is. At least like I can't even imagine them. Like, you know.
I don't know either. I don't know either. Yeah, worst villain, bar none. Thor: Love and Thunder, definitely the worst.
Disappointing.
I'm sorry. Eternals is the worst.
Oh no, Eternals is the worst. But it was
most
like,
disappointing. I would say.
Yeah, because I was really looking forward to this.
Second worst in my.
Because this one, I was like, all right, Taika Waititi, come save me.
Yeah.
Please, Taika Waititi, come save me from this mess that's happening. Like, I do not know what's happening. Taika Waititi, you did right with.
It's actually probably not the second worst. It's She-Hulk, probably the second worst.
Well, yeah, but like,
sorry, keep going.
But this was like, Taika Waititi, I have something to look forward to. Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor. You did Thor Ragnarok. This is like cosmic characters we're dealing with serious. You have Christian Bale. Please, like,
I will
good.
never forgive that he just wasted the Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie.
Christian Bale,
and they wasted Christian Bale.
How
too,
do you do that? Oh,
how do you
man.
put Christian Bale in a movie and not let him act? You know? And this is what I thought. I thought a lot of people are like, when I tell them this, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I say the first 10 minutes of the film were really good. And people are like, what are you talking about? It wasn't. I'm like, yes, it is. Because at the beginning, that god was acting so like, he was acting like a Thor Ragnarok villain, you know? And I thought Christian Bale killing him, I was like, oh, Taika Waititi's going, this is a different movie now.
Yeah.
And that, I'm like, oh, yes, but Taika Waititi, he made the exact same movie over again. And that might be, I don't think it's Taika Waititi's fault because we have seen him do serious stuff with Jojo Rabbit, with his early works, brilliant. With episode 10 of The Mandalorian,
Even
the
in
first
Thor
season.
Ragnarok, he does it better than here than in Love and Thunder.
No, he does, but I just think he didn't know what to do. Like, I think Kevin Feige left him floating.
He
to
forgot
do whatever he
why we
wanted.
liked Korg so much, and he forgot why we love Thor so much. And
but he abandoned Guardians for Korg, which is just the worst decision I think that this phase has made. I think you gave us this tease in Endgame. In Endgame, your biggest movie ever, you gave us this tease that Guardians and Thor were... Now, we only have one holiday special and one movie left with the Guardians. I'm so pissed off, Edgar. It made me angry.
Yeah.
I'm angry.
Me too.
Yeah. She-Hulk Attorney at Law, garbage from start to finish.
I did not even watch it.
Garbage from start to finish, except the episode with Daredevil.
I heard he was good.
Yes, and I think her name's Tatiana Milazzi or something.
Yeah,
she is a brilliant actress.
She's in A Good Place. She's great in that. Hilarious.
She's a brilliant actress. Yeah, and she's just given absolute garbage in this, and the writers wanted her to be completely dislikable. Like, why are you writing her like she has moral high ground of the Hulk who has literally tried to kill himself? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
However,
I'm sorry. Just to fix what I just said earlier. You were talking about the actress for She-Hulk. I was thinking of Jamila Jamil, who was a different character.
She was a different character.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got confused with her. But
she was in another television show.
A Good Place. A Good Place.
No, her, Tatiana Maslany. She was in this big show where she plays multiple characters, and she's really good in it. I forgot the name, but it was really bad, except the scenes with Daredevil. The scenes with Daredevil make me have faith in the Daredevil television show, because, as Edgar said earlier, the best Marvel television show is the original Daredevil. Yeah. So I hope that they're gonna find a way to connect those two. I don't want it to be a reboot. Please, God, don't make it a reboot. But Tatiana and She-Hulk and Matt Murdock, they had really great rapport, and I was like, man, Daredevil should have been in the whole show. Like, I was like, he should have been, like, he grounded her in really, really good. Like, the final episode went off the walls. Like, off the walls in the sense that it kind of, like, ruins the entire MCU. Mm-hmm. I implore you, don't watch it, because I genuinely I just want, in terms of like single things.
I hear what happens.
That was the worst.
I mean, I know what happens, and it's like such a cop out as to like, oh, we're criticizing our faults in our thing, and because of that, you can't critique it at all. I'm like, that is not how it works.
Not how it works. Yeah.
And then they make jokes of the visual effects crew. I'm like, you're just. Yeah. And that on top of what Taika, and then that on top of Taika Waititi, him criticizing, I'm like, y'all are really just like digging the hole with the shovel here. I'm like,
so and then we get Werewolf by Night, which means
I have not seen it. Heard great things.
Edgar I've seen.
I
heard great things. Yeah, I need
Michael
to watch
Giacchino directed that.
Right.
Really surprising, but I'll go watch that.
And then of course Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But Edgar, there is one thing left to save this entire phase.
What is it?
Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
That's like the thing I was looking more forward to that than
Black Panther.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Me too. The Kevin Bacon thing looks so
Yeah.
funny, and I know a lot of people are disappointed because they wanted Kevin Bacon to play a big villain in the MCU.
Yeah, because does Marvel like X-Men Origins the film exist in that universe, or does because that's like Kevin Bacon
because Kevin Bacon. I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
but I mean, even though I'm looking forward to this, and people who listen to the podcast are like, Edgar, you just said you are completely done with like the MCU. Yeah, I just mean in terms of like I'll be going to everything, even though like this phase clearly proven I haven't seen everything.
I mean, we haven't seen everything. Yeah,
because I clearly have no interest in seeing something. So like, but it's officially like I'm just gonna be one of those guys who like, oh, the next Avengers film comes out. Yeah, I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah,
maybe Ant-Man, and even Ben's like, if that one's not good, But like that's like me at the spot. I'm there.
If Ant-Man, if Quantumanian's bad, it's over. The only film I'm gonna watch after that is Guardian of the Galaxy and maybe Loki.
But I'm like kind of done, like
Sure.
As being like the Marvel guy, like
yeah. I think it for me. I've never been a Marvel guy. I've been more of a Star Wars dude. But and of course, obviously, we're both manga guys. But I mean, it's important. What the next 3-4 things is important because first it's Quantumania. Then it's Secret Invasion, then Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Marvel, if you mess this up, if you mess up Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I'll never forgive you.
Quantumania is the setup for literally the next Avenger. So if you mess that up, like it's like
it would be bad. And then Loki is after that. So yeah, those 4, the most important. And then after that, a whole bunch of shows I could not care less about. After that, you have Echo.
No.
Then you have the Marvels for the movie.
No.
Then you have Blade, which
that had to get a whole. Did you hear what happened with that? It had to get like
a whole
Kevin Feige looked at it and like, no. he like just said it. I think it was like done or something, and he was like, no, we're doing it over again, which is great at least.
Yeah.
But like, man, it's like.
And then autumn next year, Ironheart.
No.
And then I know you're excited for this one, Edgar.
What?
Agatha, the Coven of Chaos.
Why?
And then it's gonna finish. It could finish strong with Daredevil and Captain America: New World Order. But that in between period.
Hey,
is
Harrison
when
Ford in an MCU film. That'll be something to look forward to.
That in between period is when I'm checking out. That's when I'm like, okay, that's when I don't care anymore, because there is a good year of what I think to be useless content that has no reason being in there. Yeah. Luckily, all the things in Phase 6, at least for right now, looks interesting with the Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four and the Avengers, and Daredevil. I mean, not Daredevil, Deadpool. Coming back, so but we don't know where Deadpool is. So
I think it was confirmed It was not 2023 anymore. It's like 2024, 4 or 5 or something.
Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah. But yeah, that's our thoughts on the entirety of Marvel Phase 4. Worse than a mixed bag, I would say.
Yeah.
Worse than mid.
Would you say it should have ended at? I mean, you can be excited as you are for the rest of the film and still enjoy all these films afterwards. But would you say it should have ended at Endgame?
No, I mean the enjoyment that I felt for those first 3 films and then Spider-Man. Yeah, I think that was great. I think it should have continued, but I think it should have continued like only individual.
It just didn't go in the direction I expected it to.
I think it should have been individual superhero films, but only a select few. If you do say that, if you do go with the thing that it ended at Endgame, that's fine. Do something that resets the world and make it about the X-Men. Do the same thing that you did with Marvel, but with every X-Men, because that would be great to see a Cyclops movie and to see a build-up. The X-Men deserve a build-up.
And then they're bad, and then another guy named Fevin Feige, like, all right, the X-Men films, they're bad. Marvel, you're not doing good. So I'm going to make an Avengers film, but and then it just keeps doing it over and over again.
Over and over again. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think also some of the people leaving the MCU, I think they dipped out at the right times. I think Chris Hemsworth, people like Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, I think they're not regretting it. Obviously, they love to play these characters, but I think the only
I feel like
person-
Benedict Cumberbatch is like a guy who's like, I'm tired of this.
No,
And he's
Benedict
like,
Cumberbatch said as long as they continue evolving the character, I would love. He said
Oh.
he loved playing, and and you can see it too. I think he is great.
If I were him, I'd be like, what are you doing to my character?
Yeah,
like, what
I
are
would
you-
be like, let me in the writing room right
Yeah,
now.
like,
you know? But yeah, I think the only people who have really the characters who have only kind of evolved was Doctor Strange and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In terms of like what I'm excited for next.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited to see because I think Spider-Man, it ended him off in a great place.
Yeah, he had like the perfect conclusion to like
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
And
it was great because the Homecoming saga was his origin story basically, which is fantastic. But yeah, I'm also interested to see Doctor Strange. But I mean, man, real bummer
Yeah.
what's going on
I
here.
know
Yeah.
we're not big on like placing numbers on reviews together, but like I like saying my thoughts on it. I'm gonna give Black Panther 2 like a 6 out of 10 or something. It's
Sure.
like that's like probably 6.5. Like I said, it's not a bad film, but that's how I feel about it. It was like
In terms of film, I'll give it a 7. In terms of my enjoyment of it, I'll give it a 4.
yeah, I agree with you on that point.
I'll give it a 4.
like a 3 for me, honestly. Like,
God, because I was so bored.
yeah,
Not to say that it didn't have amazing moments. Obviously, Namor,
yeah.
amazing.
Directing was
Yeah,
good.
directing was good.
But there weren't any
Acting
standout
was
shots. Standout shots compared to the first one.
No, I think, yeah, world building was good. I think the only thing that you could maybe point out is like all the times Namor like got out of the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, I think those were really well shot.
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, I think, yeah, I'm not excited for the new Black Panther, and it's not because Shuri is a bad character. I just don't think it was built up well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our thoughts about Black Panther 2. Next week we're coming back to manga, and
Yeah, we promised. Yeah.
and next week are we doing One Piece, or are we just gonna save that for another week?
Oh, we could do that next week, or we can do it the week after. Either way,
Yeah.
in 2 weeks or one, it'll be coming to you shortly. Because
Yeah.
I finished Water 7, baby. Water 7 Saga.
This is where One Piece truly begins. ladies
It's
and
where it
gentlemen.
gets good, in my opinion. Because that's.
yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely much more interested than I were in the
Yeah.
beginning. So,
Yeah.
well, you'll hear about that soon.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We're really excited. Be sure to check out last Saturday we released our Loketown arc, so we are officially done with our half-blind One Piece review series of East Blue. So we're gonna be heading off into
Man,
our
that was like
Alabasta
a
saga.
billion years
That was
ago.
about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it really slow, but just making sure, you know, a bad video is bad forever, and a good video, you know, is good forever. So
Yeah.
we're just doing all that stuff. We got some exciting videos coming out for you. Be sure to hit like, subscribe. Thank you for all of you. I just saw this statistic. 150 of you subscribed in the past 20 days.
Oh,
Wow.
thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. We're enjoying your company. We're enjoying your... Oh, my God. I almost forgot about the poll.
Oh, Ben.
Oh,
How
my
could you
God.
forget? That's like
I
the
know.
one. That's like the only reason why people watch our show.
I know, right?
That's kidding.
Exactly. So last week, Edgar, just give me a quick little answer to this. Last week I said, other than Luffy, who's your favorite of the OG Straw Hat? Zoro, Nami, Usopp, or Sanji?
Zoro.
course.
Obviously, that's just a basic answer. But I guess other than
Mine is Sanji, but yeah.
Sanji, yeah. But honestly, my second now is probably be Nami. I really like her.
Nami's
like,
great, isn't
yeah.
she? Yeah. Surprisingly, she ranked last in this poll.
What?
And 160 votes.
I thought Usopp would be last.
Yeah,
That's pretty
160 votes. We're doubling our vote count every week, which is great.
Keep voting, guys. This is where voting matters. Not just kidding.
Yes,
No.
exactly. Exactly. So, obviously, Zoro won with 63%, Nami
Not surprised.
with 9%, Usopp with 13%,
Oh, okay.
and Sanji with 15%.
Wow, I would have expected
So,
Sanji
yeah.
to be a bit higher, but you know,
Yeah.
Zoro's just the goat. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? He's so great.
No, definitely. All right, guys. This week's question is, what is your favorite sign-in manga? Vinland Saga, Vagabond, or Berserk? We uploaded it 5 hours ago. It's already got 34 votes. So, and 2 comments. Somebody said right here, Joy Boy Chris, said his favorite is Monster. which is really cool. This is something where me and Edgar are
Hey, buddy,
taking
play
a
the
look
game
at.
correctly.
Yeah,
No, just
exactly.
kidding.
Yeah, man, come on.
Come on. No, I get it. Yeah.
Moody D said Futanari Origins. So really
Can you
interesting.
like actually
Yeah.
vote? Just kidding.
They might have actually voted, but yeah.
No, just kidding.
But we haven't read those.
You guys
so
suck.
we,
I'm just kidding.
yeah, none of
That's
us have
funny.
read those.
The
so,
first two
yeah.
answers, like, something else.
Yeah, exactly. But let us know in the comments what you think. If there are any other sign-in like Monster, let us know in the comments, and we'll check all of that stuff out. And we'll see you guys on the next Manga Monday show.
Bye-bye.